Good day everyone. Today, I will going to show you how to accurately and properly perform the postural assessment. However, we are only going to focus in key assessments such as static, dynamic, and anthropometry girth measurements. First in line is a static postural assessment in lateral view. For the head, there are only two classifications mentioned in the form, the forward head and the good posture. As for me, you can obviously see that I belong in a good posture because my head is not bent forward or neither backward. Therefore, it is only balanced. As you can see, I let my cousin cross out the forward head axis. As for the shoulders, there are only two classifications mentioned in the form, the protracted and the retracted. So as you can see, my shoulder moves toward the spine. So obviously, my shoulder is retracted. So I let my cousin put check on the retracted boxes. In the lumbopelvic hip, there are also two classifications, the anteriorly and posteriorly tilted. So as you can see, the back of my pelvis tilts up. So obviously, my lumbopelvic hip is anteriorly tilted. So my cousin put check on the anteriorly tilted boxes. Moving on in the static postural assessment anterior view. The knees has four classifications, the adducted, abducted, internally rotated, and externally rotated. So as you can see, my knees movement is away from the midline. So obviously, my knees belongs to the abducted and are externally rotated knees. Moving on the feet, there are three classifications, the flat, internally rotated, and externally rotated. My feet, however, is not flat because there is a slight gap between my feet and the floor. However, it is externally rotated. Moving on the second assessment, the dynamic postural assessment anterior view. In doing this specific assessment, you need to be in the overhead squat position. Flashed in the screen is the proper posture in doing the overhead squat. In anterior view, we will start in the feet. So as you can see, my feet is turning outwards, so I will put check on the boxes. Moving on with the knees, there are also two classifications. The knees move inward and the knees move outwards. So based on the video flashed in the screen, my knees are obviously moving outwards. Next is the dynamic postural assessment lateral view. In the lumbopelvic hip, there are three classifications, the low back arcs, low back crowns, and excessive forward lean. In my lumbopelvic hip, there is a slight arc that has formed. So obviously, I belong to the low back arcs. Moving on with the shoulder, there is only one classification, the arms fall forward. As you can see, my arms does not fall forward or does not fall backward, so it is just normal. Next in line is the dynamic postural assessment posterior view. In the feet category, there are two classifications, the feet flatten and the heels rises. As you can see, my heels does not rise above the ground, so obviously my feet stays flat on the ground. So I let my cousin put check on the foot flattens boxes. However, in the lumbopelvic hip posterior view, there are only one selection, the asymmetric weight shift. As you can see, there is no weight shift occurred as I perform the overhead squat. So it is just normal. While on the shoulder, there is also one classification. The arms fall forward. Overhead squat, My arms does not fall forward nor backward, so my arms is just normal. The third and last assessment is the anthropometry girth measurements assessment. In this last assessment, this aims to measure the circumference of the different parts of the body, such as chest, right upper arm, right forearm, waist, hips, right thigh, right calf, and waist and hip ratio. Flash in the screen or the clips of my instructor or evaluator measuring my different body part circumference. Also, flash in the screen is my girth measurements in inches. That would be all. Thank you.